So, like I was saying when I left off, um, so what I was saying is that I know these things are being sent from the client, the target ID, the object ID, and then the amount. And so I'm going to go into ACE, and what I'm going to do is make sure that I'm reading that. Okay, so I'm reading that the target ID being sent is I'm going to save it to this variable. So I'm going to say message.payload read a uint and save it to target. Okay, you may or may not have to do that in the future, but this is how you would do that. And so basically, I read this in, and then I pass that to the method that I have created in Player called handle give object request. So I pass the target, the object, and the amount. And then so from there, I'm just going to go into Player, and I know that it's somewhere near the top. So handle give object request, and sure enough, it takes the three parameters that I want to give it. And so at this point, I know that a few things happen when you give an item to a player. The first thing that happens is a game message gets sent that updates your encumbrance. Another message gets sent that basically takes the item from your container and places it in the other person's container. Okay, and so it only passes the ID, but we can turn that ID into a rolled object. Okay, so basically you take the ID, and then you get object by ID and so forth and so on. And so after that, after we've handled the event, we basically just do a send use done event. And what that's going to do is say, hey client, we know we've already handled this. You can stop expecting data from it, or you can stop. You shouldn't be expecting anything else to come from this. So you can go about doing other things. Inside this code is when I do handle an object request, I've also put in this other extra code that is basically just there to kind of show you what could be done, but this is certainly not the way that it should be done. And so this is just basically handing items to collectors. But basically, this stuff still works. You can hand it to other players, and that's great. But if the object is if his name is collector, then it would go through and do all this other stuff. Okay, and then at the end, it would just be done. So let's see here. Yep, and so I would like to program something from start to finish that hasn't already been completed, but I'm kind of working some formulas still out, and it's the big P word that is kind of scary to a lot of people. It's physics, and so just trying to figure out the motion of a jump and the different types of jumps, because you could jump straight up in the air but then kind of like move while you're up in the air and stuff like that. And so it gets kind of crazy, but I'd be happy if I could just like kind of just give it uh, one trajectory, and then it would just follow that and not have to worry about all those other things. But that's I'm still working on that. I think before I get to jump, I'm gonna kind of get all of Spell Manager done. And so far, right now, Spell Manager is all handled in Player. But so I'm not going to go really into that code because it's really not optimized like all the code that I ever write in my life. But hopefully, I will clean it up one day and get it all working and submit it to a PR and finally get a PR, done. Um, but maybe not. I don't know. So um, the most important thing that I can tell you from these videos is not stuff that's done in here, because I could spend a lot more time talking about what should be going on in here. But um, so one thing is, so maybe you've hit a wall, and you're kind of just like wondering what does what. And so I'm looking at someone else's code, and I don't really know what this is all about. Okay, I don't know what character options to mapping is all about, and so this is just an example. I don't even know anything about this, but so what I would do is I just highlight that, go up to my edit, find, and I would just find in all my files, and so it would bring up all these results, and then I could go inside of Ace Character and say, hey, well, um, it looks like it returns some kind of int, some integer, um, that whatever, it does something, I don't know, but um, just searching the Ace project for like action chain, like I was really like kind of stuck up on action chain and kind of understanding exactly what was going on. And so I just looked at all the examples in the code for action chain, and it just became very clear what you should be doing with it, and how it's used. Um, and I didn't have that knowledge before, but it's something that you just kind of poke around and explore and see what other people have done. And will that help you with everything? No, because some things that you need to do haven't been done before. But searching around generally solves a lot of your issues. Um, and then the last piece of advice I can give um, is going to be just asking and develop uh, dev chat. Okay, so going on to Discord and asking people in dev chat, and pretty much everyone there is very friendly. Um, Even like the senior devs and stuff like that, and the let's see here. So even the administrators, they're all really nice people. Some of these people are not so active anymore. They might pop in every now and then to answer a question or whatever, but for the most part, you don't see them around so much anymore. But everyone here is very friendly. There's not a whole lot of drama that is Ace related. Okay, um, but with that said, what new update? Oh, okay, so that's cool. So yeah, just come into to development chat and ask your question, and I'm sure you would usually get an answer pretty quickly. If not, then wait a day. Sometimes, like once it gets really late, no one's really active. But that's it. I will release a couple more videos that goes from a problem that has yet to be solved and just the step by step on how to do that. Um, but I think this is the end. Even something like this is something that I could have used a lot when I was getting into this, because I knew Java, but I didn't really know um, I didn't really know anything about networking or anything like that, except for a little JavaScript networking that I was Node.js and stuff like that. But so that was kind of like a hurdle for me for a long time. I was like, I don't know if I could even contribute to this, because I don't know anything about networking, or I don't even know anything about game physics. That's not 2D physics. And so I was kind of putting up walls for myself, saying this project is probably beyond me. But once you start digging into the code and looking at things, then you start to realize, well, this project isn't beyond me. I may not be the strongest programmer, but I may be able to contribute. And even if I can't contribute directly, they don't see value in my code, maybe I can still make this an active community that people will look forward to engaging in. And that's really what's going to keep a lot of these developers going, because if there were like four developers just sitting around and there was no activity with the project, we didn't have like, for instance, 304 people online right now, not including the developers and so forth and so on, and no one talking about anything, then it might look more like a graveyard and less like a community that we want to embrace and kind of perpetuate. So I mean that's all I have to say. Once I work out some issues for maybe a new problem that I want to work from scratch to finish with you, I think this is going to be it. So thanks for your time.